Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome to a theory crafting video. Look, 5 badass champions to put into Marvel Contest of Champions. Look, we've had some, a little bit of info today that we have got Kindred and Silk coming into the game. But look, there's some badass characters we should think about putting into Marvel Contest of Champions. Before going anywhere, I want to give some honourable mentions, like number 1, the Living Tribunal. I do think this is a bit too much of a character, but there are some ridiculous champions that are in game, like Dormammu, for example, which should be more incredibly powerful than he is, but really isn't. Gallon, again, which should be more powerful than he is, but he isn't, because he's kind of Galactus level. Mystique, which I still think could be a character that comes in game at some point, but it's just one of these things where I don't know if Kabam could do it justice based on the community desire to see something that is just able to, I don't know, morph each time. I still think there is some possibility. It's just a case of how Kabam do it that is going to be the thing, but it's still a badass character. One badass character that I would really want to see in game is Legion, but again, this is something that causes a bit of a complexity and an issue, mainly because the character has multiple personalities, therefore multiple powers, and trying to represent something like that in game is going to be incredibly difficult. The same way that we could say about Franklin Richards, which, if you go back to 2020, a little bit of nugget of information for those that may be new to the game. This was 3 years ago. Gabriel Fazera, who at the time was the art director for Kabam, or creative lead for Kabam, said that his power is basically being OP. If we make him like in the comics, he'll break the game. If we balance him against the others, you'll basically be punching a kid in the face. There's no win to be had here, which is, by the way, one of the most hilarious things. But I do see Gabe's point, and that's very correct in saying that, look, if you wanted to see Franklin Richards in game, who is an incredibly powerful character, then it's probably not going to be a thing. But in any case, let's get to work with the Beyonder. The Beyonder is one of the top 5 who is definitely an incredibly powerful character within the Marvel Universe. If you just check out some of the scales of power in this power grid, and do bear in mind, take everything with a pinch of salt when it comes to Marvel fandom, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like, it's a source of information when it comes to just kind of like giving some details to it. So we got psionic abilities, teleportation, matter manipulation, energy manipulation, superhuman strength, all the usual things that you'd expect, but on a level which is just astronomical. And again, like on the same level as power, or surpassing the likes of Living Tribunal, which we mentioned, and Eternity, which it was Entropy that I think was I thought was teased within the game, but it turned out to be like an alternate version of the Grandmaster. It was kind of weird with stuff, but he's incredibly powerful, and to have him in game, this is boss level. Unless Kabam have plans to take everything in a different way past Act 8. But imagine Act 9 being something to do with the Beyonder and the Living Tribunal. In any case, this character could just decimate. But again, very difficult because I think it's too powerful to be in Marvel Contest of Champions. But it's a badass. Reality warping. What? That's incredible. So I saw J-Ax theory crafting on this on Twitter, and I think there was somebody else, another MCC YouTuber that was mentioned in this, or discussing these particular things. The Destroyer. Since reading old comic books, and as well with the entry in the first Thor movie, this Destroyer has just interested me. You might be remembering, I said on the channel a long time ago about Thor with the Destroyer arm. This has always been the version of Thor I'd love to see put into game. I'm not a big fan of Stormbreaker Thor, and I'm definitely not a fan of the Husky Thor. I just think that when the character is at its coolest and peak is when it comes to things like this. Yes, Stormbreaker version of it was that particular peak, but I always get very annoyed with the fact that it's meant to be Stormbreaker with the golden hammer. But this version, when Thor is unworthy, he is feeling sorry for himself. He's pathetic. And I think he's sporting the Yamborn. I think I'm saying that wrong, but Yamborn axe, the battle axe. He is just peak at badass. But anyway, that's not the point. He's got that destroyer arm. And as a fan of the X-Men, and in particular Sentinels, it always kind of struck me that this is kind of similar in hunting out whatever kind of like prey based on, you know, the will and mercy of Odin to kind of summon this particular, well, I don't know, mystical based thing, because essentially that is what it is. It's a mystical thing, and it could be a good mystic champion, a very obscure mystic based champion. The destroyer armor possesses numerous capabilities which are only active if the armor is inhabited or remote piloted by the spirit of a sentient being. While some of the powers might vary depending upon the spirit inhabiting the armor, they are primarily the same of any user. So that's really interesting. Invulnerability. It's tougher than adamantium and uru. Just let that sink in for a moment. Withstanding high caliber bullets, tremendous power in impact forces, falls from tremendous heights, exposures to absolute extremes of both temperature and pressure, cold snap immune, bleed immune, poison immune. I'm talking like every single kind of immunity we could possibly see. And powerful energy blast, incinerate immune, shock immune maybe. While possesses the life force of all Asgardians, the destroyer was melted into schlag by powerful blasts of energy from Celestial. So there had to be like plasma. Would plasma blast be the thing that would kind of like take it down? But in any case, with things like energy manipulation, visor blast, which, you know, we've seen the matter manipulation. Damn, man, that is incredible. Weaknesses. It has no weaknesses. What? Yeah, that's incredible. I'd love to see this because I just think it would be a badass character and it would just destroy things. It's called the Destroyer. Okay, got a really cool one. Bit of a personal like for myself, and this just goes back to the old days of Wolverine and Wolverine-based characters. Now, I was trying to find my Silver Samurai when he was mentioned, kind of Wolverine comic book, but I actually kind of like wanted to grab this because it is one of my favorite Wolverine. This is the volume 2, part of the volume 2 collection. It's from 1991 and it's one of my favorite comic book covers, especially because it's got this kind of the Wolverine kind of with the claws and like inside just kind of blends quite well. I want to be very careful with it because it, you know, it's old enough. That's 1991, so that's like over 30 plus years, and just like it's just in really good condition and I love it. It's my favorite piece of artwork. The reason I'd like to see this character, but in any case, I digress. Back to why I think Silver Samurai would be kind of a good addition. I think it's good to expand out the line of characters in association with Wolverine, just add a bit more to it. I personally would like Daken at some stage, but I just don't think that's going to be realistic. Silver Samurai presents an interesting idea, whether or not you could put him on the side of, well, I don't know, because it's all down to Marvel. Marvel may say, like, oh, make him as a skill, but then there might be something that they're able to find something unique about him to then turn him the other way. The same way that you kind of look at, well, you can make Lady Deathstrike one way or another, the same way that you've got Ant-Man, who's science, but technically could be tech, but then there's champions like Falcon, who could be tech, but he is skill. So there's a lot of kind of grey area to all of this stuff, you know, MODOK, tech, science, you know, those kind of arguments right there. Look, there's lots of things with Silver Samurai. Tachyon field, ability to generate a tachyon energy field from within the body. Though he can focus his energy through anything, he typically focuses the field through this sword, allowing it to cut through almost any substance. Oh, I guess this is the nod that we saw to this in Wolverine, so Wolverine 2. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, again, would you like make him like, well, would he not be a skill then? He may kind of go into mutant, maybe. There's some odd things with that one. Any case, he's got a very powerful set like armor. So again, would you kind of like put him in the tech? Probably not, because he'd be skill, but he'd be hashtag metal. The same way that Baron Zemo is in game at the moment. The katana in particular, Ken has wielded the original Muramasa. He also uses throwing weapons such as, yeah, this kind of like, to me, this pinpoints more towards like a skill-based character. Whether or not they have. While working with Viper, he carried a special teleportation ring. I don't think that's going to be a thing. But yeah, it's a definite, just really badass character. And it's definitely the armor that gets me. How kind of like just amazing that is. And powerful. On to something really, really, again, weird. Onslaught. If you wanted to find out what a manifestation of Magneto and Professor X is, here is Onslaught. So imagine something on the kind of level of those two characters, but potentially more powerful. I'm talking Franklin Richards level, which we've talked about. Nate Gray, which, you know, that's, again, we're talking mega level here. Incredibly more powerful in effect with a few appearances while in his prime. Onslaught managed to create a second sun from nothing and physically matched bannerless Hulk. Yes, that happened. Astral plane tap, ability to tap into the enormous resource of the astral plane in order to manipulate matter and energy. Astral travel, material astral projection, psychometry, can read residue through imprints, dimensional sense, capable of sensing dimensional rifts and anomalies. So basically, you'll be able to, like, you know, ability action deduction on dimensional beings, telepathy, telepathic illusion, telepathic camouflage, mind blast, mind control, mind alteration, mental amnesia. The list goes on. Telekinesis, psionic spikes, magnetic kinesis. So basically, we're talking, if you imagined, it goes on, like electromagnetic. This is, look, there's more abilities. Super genius level, formidable. Okay, we gotta stop here. That is just incredibly powerful. And as I said, if you ever want to see a mix between some of the biggest, baddest mutants in the game, and this would worry me in an MCOC format. So we're talking Professor X, right? We're talking Magneto. Two very, very powerful characters and, you know, champions. Imagine having all that and more to fight up against. That's Grandmaster level right there, and it's not even close. That's the thing. There are some very powerful characters, very badass characters. Could Kabam scale this down? Quite possibly. I mean, we've read in this particular video how Kabam have been able to, or what they've done in the past, to scale down some characters. So you never know what can happen. Our final character is Absorbing Man. So I've recently been reading Secret Wars, which I'm nearly done with, but it is a very stark reminder that there are, again, some incredibly powerful characters, even to a point that God Doom had to imprison this guy because, again, like, he's powerful. He's ridiculously powerful. And now we end on one of the most powerful beings ever created. Well, I'm sure there's going to be some exceptions to that, but it's pretty much up there. Molecule Man. As said here, once a lowly lab technician desperate for recognition, Owen Reese miraculously became one of the most powerful beings in existence, the Molecule Man. While fixing an atomic device, his accident poked a pinhole into the universe of a child beyonder, and the energy from that universe empowered him. He encountered the child beyonder in the ladders of Secret Wars, and they later fused into a cosmic cube, though he was ejected soon after. So that's, I mean, look what happened to other characters. I mean, look what happened to Red Skull in the MCU. That's incredible. A lot of the time when I've read like comic books where he's been in, he just doesn't seem to be with it. I'm not, well, maybe he's on the spectrum. I don't want to assume, and it's a bit weird for me to assume the way that a comic book is written to the point as reader I interpret it. But as I said, like interpreting, he seems like he's not really there with reality. But I guess this is the thing about being as powerful as he is, and the same thing with Legion being as powerful as he is. He's just not really with everybody else, if you know what I mean. Especially when he splits himself with other universes, you know something strange is going on. But in any case, I digress, and I want to get to like the power side of things. Even though that it doesn't seem that he is one of the most powerful characters, and he's not much of a fighter, but he's definitely someone that can well, manipulate anything. He's a molecule man. That makes perfect sense. He's an extremely powerful person, at times described to be the most powerful being in the multiverse, save the Beyonder, which we did mention. Owen Reese gained, we've mentioned about that, but high omnipotence. Oh no, omnipotent. Oh, I can't say that right, but you know what I mean. Like, he's powerful. Current version of the Molecular Man is powerful is so powerful that Galactus has even claimed that Owen Reese can destroy him with a mere thought. On later occasion, he unleashed the darkest aspect, which possessed sufficient might to fight and overpower the Beyonder in a more than 3-dimensional battles. That's powerful. That's really powerful. There's molecular kinesis. Oh, this guy's super powerful. I don't think I need to explain the levels of stuff that he's done. If we're talking as well, like transform substances, the Molecule Man can even affect the molecules of matter with mystical properties such as Thor's hammer. So he can do stuff with that. Impervious to materials devised by man. So Captain America's steel alloy vibranium shield. Reality warping. So if Kabam ever added in this particular champion into game, I think we would be. It's time to be scared. I don't think he'll ever come in. He's just too powerful, but he's a badass when it comes to that. But in any case, that's been a video. I don't want it to go on too long, but yeah, what badass character, what you determine to be badass, do you think should be put into game? Put it in the comment section down below. Check out some other content, some more theory crafting stuff, and more very, very soon. I'll see you all later. Bye-bye. Before going anywhere, I want to give some honourable mentions.